Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have an amazing video for you guys today. I found an article here from Insider that you guys are going to absolutely love. Now if you want to read this article in more detail, I'm going to have a link down in the description below. Now check this out. The article starts, "The housing market isn't crashing, it has a hangover, and it is why so many buyers are backing out," Redfin economist explains. Here's some bullet points. Home deals are now dropping at a fastest pace since 2020. As competition cools in the housing market, buyers are gaining more leverage. Redfin economist Taylor Marr says the real estate market has a hangover after 2 years of unsustainable highs. The power is shifting in the real estate market. That's because mortgage rate hikes have led to a slowdown, and with less buyers competing for homes, sellers are being forced to come down to earth. As sellers adjust their behavior, Taylor Marr, the deputy chief economist at Redfin, says it's already changing the housing market. The housing market isn't crashing, but it's experiencing a hangover as it comes down from the unsustainable high. So data from Redfin shows that 22% of homes that were for sale in June experienced a price drop, marking the highest shares on record. The declining attribute to mortgage rate hikes have added as much as $400 to the typical borrower's monthly payments. Researchers say because of this, homeowners are now sitting at a market longer and being bid up less than they were during the spring. Rising mortgage rates are also forcing some buyers to cancel their home purchases. If rates were at 5% when you made an offer, but reached 5.8 by the time your deal was set to close, you may no longer be able to afford that home, or you may no longer qualify for the loan. That's crazy because, remember, sometimes it could take a while to get into that home, to get into that mortgage. So if the rates change while you're in the middle of the deal, you might not qualify, and suddenly the deal is not going to go through unless you could come up with the money on your own. Like the difference on your own or whatever. You might have to put more money down. So to be sure, demand is fizzling, not crashing. Unlike 2008 housing market crash, today's buyers are competing for a limited amount of housing inventory. This imbalance of supply and demand has helped push the national median house price to an all-time high of $420,000. Although housing affordability is on the decline, today's buyers are still leveraging more than $3.2 trillion in home equity, and those that can afford to compete are becoming more selective. Redfin data shows that the nationwide 14.9% of homes that were under contract in June fell through due to buyer apprehension. Outside of March and April 2020, June's reading was the highest percentage on record. The slowdown in housing market competition is giving homebuyers room to negotiate, which is one of the reasons more of them are backing out of deals. Buyers are increasingly keeping rather than waiving inspection and appraisal contingencies. That gives them flexibility to call the deal off if issues arise during the home buying process. So basically, buyers have a little bit more power right now. But again, we still don't have enough buyers, and the houses are still too expensive. So right now, everyone who owns a home is holding on for dear life because they probably refied and now their interest rate is super low. But it's keeping a whole generation of young Americans from being able to purchase a house. So because it's too expensive for them and the jobs are not paying. So we're due for a correction, and that's why a lot of people are like thinking, a lot of these articles actually that I've been reading, they're like, oh, it's not a crash, it's a slowdown. And I agree. It's not gonna crash like a wave. It's not gonna crash in 6 months, 50%. But the problem is that there's problems in the economy that need to resolve themselves. And the only way they're going to resolve themselves is by the economy, practically has to shrink to bring down inflation. And as that doesn't happen overnight, right? So that's why I'm saying that in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see amazing home purchasing. You're going to see amazing deals for buying houses. And that's why if you are in a market of selling, I would say right now is probably a great time to sell. Just think about it, okay? How are people, look, you have a generation of people that are getting old, right? That are basically going to have to sell their house to move into a retirement home. right? So you have a whole mess of those people. And then you have a whole new generation of people that can't afford buying houses because the jobs are not there. They're not, jobs are not paying people $500,000 a year or $250,000 a year. In order to make $250,000 a year, you need two incomes of people making, $125,000 a year each, right? To make $250,000, that's hard. It's hard. It's not, you don't see that a lot, and I'm talking about places like California. I'm talking about places like New York. I'm talking about places like, in Miami. A lot of people are like, sure, Florida has some affordable housing, but yeah, where in Florida, right? Where? Like Orlando is kind of not that cheap. Miami is very expensive. Like in California, sure, you could buy an affordable house, but where? You have to go all the way out to the desert, and then if you're commuting to the city, you're gonna be sitting on traffic for 2-3 hours. So a lot of states do have affordable housing. It's just that they're not where the jobs are, right? So that is essentially the biggest problem that I'm seeing. Either jobs have to start paying their employees, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% more, or the housing is gonna come down. But you can't really have it both ways. Or there's gonna be like a revolution. But that's kind of how I see it. I want to hear your thoughts. Please comment down below. Now, if you guys do like these videos, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and go ahead and like and leave a comment. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.